Within hours of the initial order, a massive U.S. military operation overwhelms the defenses of a strategic Iranian island in the Persian Gulf. Transport aircraft and amphibious landing craft swarm the coast, securing the territory with minimal initial casualties. From a tactical perspective, the invasion is a textbook success. The U.S. commander on the ground reports that American forces have secured the geographic anchor overlooking the world's most critical maritime choke point. This 3D map of the Persian Gulf shows the stakes of this passage. The Strait of Hormuz is barely 21 miles wide, yet every day 20 million barrels of oil, roughly 1/5 of global consumption, transit through it. It also handles 20% of the world's LNG. Zooming in reveals the true bottleneck. Supertankers are forced into constrained 2-mile-wide shipping lanes. Asian high-tech markets, especially in Japan, India, and Taiwan, rely on this specific corridor to keep industrial grids running. Moving these vulnerable vessels through a militarized zone requires high-cost naval protection. Each carrier represents a massive, slow-moving target in a highly contested environment. Establishing a permanent garrison on this island acts as an anchor, tethering the U.S. military to a static, vulnerable target inside a geographic trap. Day one of the occupation reveals a different kind of war. Iran bypasses a direct ship-to-ship naval confrontation in favor of a mosaic defense, a decentralized strategy using hidden, dispersed weapons to make the surrounding waters unnavigable. Highly mobile, fast attack boats operating in coordinated swarms aggressively contest the shallow coastal waters. Along with cheap naval mines and hidden anti-ship missiles, they form a lethal barrier around the occupied island. This instantly triggers an insurance blockade. The maritime insurers in London who underwrite global shipping cancel their war risk cover. Without insurance, commercial supertankers refuse to enter the Gulf, effectively halting global shipping without Iran needing to sink a single vessel. This data chart tracks the immediate global economic fallout. As maritime traffic through the Gulf plunges, the resulting supply shock pushes the price of Brent crude toward $200 a barrel. The ripple effects tear through the just-in-time global logistics network. Energy deficits force industrial shutdowns across Asia. As liquefied natural gas shipments vanish, output in high-tech semiconductor manufacturing plummets. The initial tactical victory instantly triggered the self-inflicted strangulation of the global economy. By months 1 through 12, the conflict has settled into a state of grinding friction. U.S. troops maintain a static defense miles from a hostile, heavily fortified mainland, facing the physical and psychological exhaustion of constant alert. Defending the island requires firing multi-million-dollar precision interceptors to destroy waves of drones that cost a fraction of that amount. This asymmetric math rapidly depletes finite stockpiles of advanced munitions. Beneath the military strain lies a heavy legal obligation. Under international law, an occupying power assumes responsibility for the survival of the local population. The U.S. military suddenly inherits the burden of providing food, public order, and medicine for over 100,000 hostile civilians. Survival on the island depends entirely on fragile water infrastructure. These arid communities rely on exposed desalination plants for their only source of potable water. A single act of sabotage or a stray munition risks a mass dehydration event. History offers a grim warning. During the 1915 Gallipoli campaign, a superior military force established a footprint on a hostile shore, only to be systematically bled by an adversary holding the geographic high ground. In the Falklands, the British Navy learned that projecting power across vast distances exposes a vulnerable logistical tail. Even with technological superiority, the ships required to sustain a forward-deployed garrison remain exposed in contested waters. Attempting to hold this territory transforms a highly mobile expeditionary force into a stationary, bleeding target that consumes vital military readiness. Game theory describes the state as a strategic deadlock. The U.S. is trapped between a humiliating military withdrawal and an economically toxic, open-ended occupation. This prolonged vulnerability erodes America's global deterrence. It signals the functional limits of superpower intervention when faced with determined asymmetric resistance. The primary beneficiaries are America's great power competitors. China and Russia weaponize the diplomatic fallout at the UN Security Council, framing the U.S. as a destabilizing force while positioning themselves as the new stewards of global stability. This dynamic flowchart tracks how global trade reroutes during the crisis. Terrified by the volatility in energy markets, allied nations accelerate de-dollarization and flock toward alternative payment systems developed by the BRICS economic bloc. Because in a highly integrated global economy, the power to disrupt and deny a system is far more resilient than the power to unilaterally defend and order it. The seizure of a sovereign island reveals the functional limits of conventional military dominance in a contested littoral environment.